Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DigiMarcon podcast. We are here with Dennis Yu and
Alexander the Ritter.
Alexander Ritter, and I'm Sam McLeod. And we're here in Las Vegas, DigiMarcon, and we're going to talk to Alex about what he's doing with Smith OS.
Smith OS.
Smith OS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a scene in the Matrix where Morpheus gets tortured by Agent Smith.
Oh no,
That's Smith, but yours has a Y in it.
Mine has a Y.
Yeah, that's right.
Warner Brothers. It's just totally coincidental. Okay. And he's talking about how the Matrix came to be, and he's like, initially, I wanted this to be this utopia paradise, but people I don't know, got bored or something. It didn't work. And so we had to try something else, a world with suffering and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, but not everybody agreed that that was the right approach. Some of us thought that there must have been like a software solution to that. Well, Smith OS is there to prevent a matrix from happening.
Okay.
Is that actually the founding story, the origin?
Yeah, there's a few more meanings of Smith. Yeah, but this part of the philosophy is that the Internet of Agents is kind of the next big thing,
step, sure.
and it can be like the last big thing too for humanity. It could be, right? And you have all these companies who just want to own the walled garden and be like, "I own you," and I just think that's like a worst case scenario outcome for humanity. The next Internet of Agents needs to be open. And then Smith also has like myth in there, like mythical.
Oh.
And you have also the idea of smithing something, of creating something.
Yeah,
So you have,
blacksmith,
yeah. And like we have Smith Forged. You go to forged.smithos.com. People showcase what they made with agents, and they built with Smith. So it's Smith
Interesting.
Forged.
Okay, that's
So
really
it's
cool.
all those meanings in one. Yeah.
Really cool. So here at DigiMarcon, it's all about it. The AI is the word.
Oh,
Everyone's talking about it.
yes.
So a lot of people too, they're nervous how to use it. They don't know what to do with it. Agents, all this kind of stuff. It's really confusing to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
explain what Smith OS does and explain it almost to a 5-year-old. So
Okay.
they can understand what
Sure.
you're doing and how you're going to help them so that people can understand how they can use these agents moving forward.
So what we're providing is like the Lego kit that you can build with.
Okay.
And
I like Lego. That's good.
yeah, and we have all these blocks that you can compose with, and when you put them together, you can say use this model with this database and that software, and then send it over there and do that, and then make a phone call or send an email, or talk to this other agent, and so you can start building the digital workforce. In my keynote earlier this morning, I broke it down in a simple way. There's 3 categories of agents that I see. The personal agent, that's your personal assistant. Okay. That's the one you should absolutely not fall in love with. Then you have the brand agent, and the brand agent is like your best salesperson and support person in one 24/7, talking to customers on all platforms: WhatsApp, Siri, Google, Gemini, whatever, right? And then you have process agent, and a process agent is like the next colleague you have, a digital colleague. And you could build any of the 3 with Smith OS, but you're not likely to be the number 1 personal agent in the world because, it's all about distribution. So Amazon has hundreds of millions of devices subsidized and in your home, so it's likely you're going to talk to it. There's billions of Android devices in the world. It's most likely that these are the distribution channels. They're going to own the personal assistant, and they're going to bribe you. And this is like the browser wars on steroids, because when they own the channel by which you buy and consume information, they kind of got advertisements superhighway. You have to go through them. They're the gatekeepers. I do think there will be at some point a very compelling open source, own your own assistant, own your own data player in this space. Anyway, back to Smith OS.
Sure.
We provide the operating system for you to build and run those agents on any piece of hardware, and then deploy them to any modality that you want, whether it's chat or voice or WhatsApp or ChatGPT or Gemini. Build it once, deploy it everywhere.
Okay, interesting. So being that all of us here are engineers,
Hmm.
I want to inquire, how does this work?
Okay.
What's the background of this? You alluded to some philosophical stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute, because
Okay.
that sounds really interesting. Dennis and I have talked quite a bit about that, about philosophy is kind of the background of
This is like
all the
Vegas. There needs to
technology.
be like a hot top time machine or something.
Yeah, right. Something. Okay, but let's say someone is going to go onto Smith OS.
Yeah.
How are they going to configure these agents? How are they going to get them to work and
Yeah.
communicate and fulfill the duties and jobs that they needed to do, like a personal VA in a way?
Yeah. One of the cool things I love about the space is that every week there's a new model, every week there's new technology, and that means that since Smith can orchestrate all that stuff, every week agents become more powerful.
Okay.
So there's like a limit of what they can do, but every week that limit moves forward. And Smith OS is like that one platform that you learn, and then as soon as the day something comes out, you can go and build something nobody else has done yet, because a new model or a new database or a new API drops, and you can do something with that. How would you start? So we're trying to meet people where they are. Different people have different developer capabilities, background, engineering background. So let's start from like my mom.
Okay. So
Right?
yeah, I was going to ask about target audience too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about target audience with this too. That's really
Yeah.
important.
So if my mom wanted to build an agent, which she would not do, she could go to Smith OS and type in Agent Weaver.
Okay.
It's the weaver of the agents. You type in, make me an agent that can do XYZ, and it will like vibe code it for you. You'll
Okay.
see the boxes
Sure.
appear, and then they're human readable. Like this is the true mom test, right? If your mom can't explain what the agent does, it's probably not safe to deploy.
Okay.
Right? And so with Smith, we have this visual interface where you can see all of the steps that it's taken, and it's explained nicely in English. First it does that, then it goes and does that, it uses that, and that's the outcome. And anybody can read that. Now, as you are aware, vibe coding has its limitations,
For sure.
right? So it's like lovable, right? The first 80% of my app, I love it. I brag everybody
That's
how
so
amazing it
good.
is.
It's unreal. Yeah.
And then the last 20% of it, I'm just like, you stupid. And it
nothing
doesn't.
directs properly, and then if you try and get it to do more,
And you
it
fix one
doesn't.
thing and
Yeah,
it breaks
it's brutal.
another, and you get in the circle, and
Sure.
it's like the worst thing. Anyway, vibe coding is kind of the state of the art today. Anyhow, then what you can do is drag and drop and just very easily configure the changes.
within the Smith OS
Yeah, within
platform.
Smith OS.
Okay.
My mom would probably drop off about there.
Okay.
But let's say that people who have like used WordPress before or know how to use Canva or something, they can learn Smith OS. I've got some of the best agent builders in my company were hired back in the day just as WordPress content people. And like now they're building agents. So like you don't need a degree to be able to do it. You need to know your workflow, what works, what doesn't work, and just have a general interest in it. Okay, so that's the first group of people. We do make it easy with like ready to go templates, ready to go integrations,
Sure.
drag and drop. All of that is there. Now you're more advanced. Let's say you're an engineer. You will still love the full visual interface. But let's say that you are really in love with code, right? What you can now do is you can export the agent and you can import that in your code agent. We have an SDK. So that's a software development kit. And now you have two ways of coding. You can either have like freestyle coding, but using our runtime, and you also can bring the agents you visually made and import them as skills, or even third-party agents you made. And so we give you full flexibility, like basically to create anything and everything you want.
That's really interesting, because a lot of things, like basically what you guys are doing is you're bridging the gap between super simple, anybody can use, and then also really developer heavy platforms. Like the new OpenAI agent builder is really developer heavy, but then people can go and use just ChatGPT and use like a search engine, not use it properly. That's really interesting, because I feel like, I mean, we're here at DigimarCon, we're listening to these people, and we ask them questions and things like that, but a lot of them don't know how to use it at all in a proper way so that it can do what they need.
It's a learning
you guys
curve.
and you guys are almost bridging the gap between someone who really knows how to use these platforms and someone who knows nothing.
So one of the cool things is when you're done with your agent, you can then have the freedom to deploy it where you want. You want it to run it on your computer in an Electron app locally with an Olama, you can do that.
Oh.
You want to run it on a drone, on a Raspberry Pi or a thermostat, you can run your agent on your thermostat, coordinating your whole house as an agent.
You can run on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow.
And then you can also run it in a data center or in AWS. And because the runtime is in real operating system, just like plug and play your webcam, it will like use the hardware available to it. So let's say that your vault where you keep your secrets, your API keys and stuff, right? If you installed SmithOS agent on Amazon, the runtime will self-configure to use the Amazon secret key. So let's say, is this is an HP?
Yeah.
If you have a Samsung phone, it has a Knox chip for encryption, right?
Sure.
So if Smith ran on your Samsung phone, it would use a Knox chip for encrypting your secrets. Or if it ran in Amazon, it would use the Amazon key secret. But if you just run it on a regular Linux computer, it might just store it with HashiCorp encryption in a file. But it can swap out like plug and play drivers without having to recode the agent anytime you run it on a different device.
Interesting.
Because today people are thinking about how do I create an agent and that's cool and I can make a LinkedIn post and look smart.
Right.
But tomorrow we're wondering how that works for security, how that works in teams of agents, and how you maintain hundreds of agents. Because in the next 5 years, there will be 800 million agents that come online. How will the world maintain those agents? How will they keep them secure? How will they work together? And then ultimately that culminates in the Internet of Agents, which the standards are being formed around the Linux Foundation, agent to agent, model context protocol, agent gateway protocol, agent payment protocol. And this is funny, right? So agent payment protocol, what does that abbreviate as?
APP.
APP. So Google's like, that is a disaster. So let's call it AP2.
Okay. That's really interesting. So you guys are really, you're ahead of the curve in your thinking then.
Oh, yeah.
Very forward thinking. That's really interesting. A lot of that stuff that you talk about, I mean, Linux and whatever, we understand that, but most people don't. Basically, just what it means is what you described earlier. Is that somebody can build an agent, and if you wanted to control the temperature in your house, or if you wanted to make a LinkedIn post, which I feel like most people do. Most people would want an agent.
Or a whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah, have like an SEO researcher.
Interesting.
A writer, an editor, a legal reviewer, a poster, one that sources images, one that sources video, one that sources tweets, one that then editorializes and supervises the whole team as an orchestration, and then an agent that updates the article after I published it to keep it fresh. Yeah. So, and they all work together as a team. And I used to have like 27 full-time people writing content for me. And now one person is able to do 5 times the output of that team of 27 people with a team of 11 agents. I call it Ocean's 11.
And we're here in Las Vegas, the Bellagio, right? That's perfect. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, the French crown jewels.
Yeah, right.
SmithOS agents.
Really cool.
Not really Interpol. That's fine.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
I caught the best.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
Get a joke, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but SmithOS, MIT licensed, open sourced, or full stack.
Oh.
So not only do we built with any model, any hardware, fully open in mind, but we also think it's very important that the whole world has the freedom to compete. One of the things we talk about a lot is the great reshoring. That is when, in the last 20 years or so, we offshored our work.
Right.
And now with AI, the skilled workers in rich countries just bring that low-level work back home with AI. And people need to consider the devastation that brings to those developing economies. You cannot stop it from happening. You cannot tell people you have to keep sending money to Vietnam or something. Right. You can't tell people, right? But the best thing you can do is giving them the tools they need, even commercially, for free, to compete in this new market, in this new economy. And for example, we did a hackathon in Bangladesh, partnered with universities around Dhaka. 3 days time, I'll just tell you. Okay, our entire budget was $1,500.
Hmm.
In 3 days, more than 600 students signed up for the hackathon.
Wow.
Like, like the hunger for this.
Interesting.
Young people can't find jobs. Jobs are being reshored, and then companies charge $50,000 licenses just to use last year's technology
Mhm.
commercially. Like, you know what
Hmm.
percentage of the world can afford that?
Very low.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Wow. That's really forward thinking. I'm just blown away by this. That's really interesting.
Okay.
Dennis, I want to pipe you in on this. Being a search engine engineer, you know a lot of this background stuff, but you're also, when you come and speak, you're really good at being able to make it simple for people. How do you think that incorporates with what SmithOS is doing and the forward thinking that you have with AI?
Simple for people means complexity absorbed by the system. So
Almost like Apple.
Complexity I view as just chaining together different SOPs. So when Alexander and you and I, we write code, code is an instruction set or an SOP for an agent or a program or something to the daemon to kick off and do something and then hand off via cron jobs or whatever to other things that tie together. Well, that's no different than when you tell humans what to do. Like McDonald's has an SOP on how do they make burgers. I view McDonald's as a software company.
Yeah.
They just happen to process food instead of code.
Yeah.
And so SOPs and instruction sets that are linked together for humans, just like for these agents or programs or whatnot, can be merged together to be able to collaborate. And if that's the case, then the director of this, their success is contingent upon their creative ability, their intent, and the clarity of the outcome that they want, which I know sounds philosophical. So people like at this level, when you hear Alexander say this, you know that there's a level of thinking. If he's talking about Agent Smith, like I know that I can unpack that and get some really juicy things. So me as a search engine engineer, I thought, well, what we used to do, this just shows how old I am. Way back in the late 90s, you had to know, through Telnet and FTP where you wanted to go, where the files were. So we assembled a folder with our favorite list of websites, which David Philo created.
Right? Nice directories.
Yeah. And then instead of having a list of hard-coded links, here's like sports and NBA teams. I mean, we had humans that were manually updating this giant file system, right? Well, imagine there's just a box and you could just put whatever you want into the box and then it would navigate through all the different folders to find the things that you wanted. That's what's about to happen with knowledge. That's what's happening with work. If we can specify the goal of what we want, then you don't have to worry about like what knowledge is and what agent and whatever's necessary, because if you have the intent and the clarity of how you want to see that, then these intelligent agents absorb that complexity of execution.
There's a concept in computer programming called polymorphism, and in SmithOS, this is brought to agents, and that's a complex word for non-coders, but coders understand that allows you to create a little Lego block and then extend it a little bit or modify it a bit or reuse it, and you can create things that are composable and stack up over time. So companies often struggle with how do I make this transformation to automation? And the answer is one step at a time. Eventually these agents work together, collaborate together, but don't make an agent that does everything. Make an agent that's really good at one thing, just like you would hire an employee for one specific job.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that's something that clears up a lot of ambiguity about how to use these. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday and earlier today too, but people need to know that they have these tasks they can complete, that they could do themselves. At least for us, 80% of our day is spent doing tasks that take 10 minutes. They're very short tasks, but they just take up time and thinking power. And if they're able to configure these agents to complete these tasks for them, personally or within a company, their productivity is going to skyrocket.
But I also want to dispel some like the myth, the legend. Like there's a lot of lore and fluff around AI. Okay, let's be real. Like AI is not general. It's not AGI.
Right.
It's okay, and human beings are general intelligence. So we already have GI. It's just
Yeah.
human general intelligence. Okay,
Yeah.
we already have it. That's why you hire humans to provide the general intelligence, and you want to apply general intelligence to problems that are completely new and novel, and you don't have an SOP for.
Mm.
And you want to apply agents to things where the SOP is already known, where you know the steps to take to get to a certain outcome. And if you're going to do it more than once, it should be an agent.
Yeah.
So we're saying is people have to know how to do the task manually
Yes.
before they can automate it.
Yeah, and that's always the
100%.
case. Yeah,
Us humans are prototypers,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
guinea pigs.
100%. That's really interesting. Well, the way I see this is that Smith OS, like I said earlier, it bridges a big gap for people
Mhm.
between people that don't really know how to use AI and then people that do. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and just with your forward thinking from this, I'm excited to see what happens in the
Mhm.
future with Smith OS.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I'm Sam McLeod. We're here with Dennis Yu and with Alex, and this is at DigiMarCon in Las Vegas.
Thank you for being here.
Alexander DeRitter is an absolute boss.
Yeah.
This guy's so quiet. I've seen him at so many of these DigiMarCons. He's always just like quietly sitting there in the back. And I just like to say those people who know don't say, and those people who say, like these loud AI whatever, they don't know. So you should check out Smith OS. He's open sourced his stuff so that it's democratizing knowledge and capability across the world. That huge props to him. I wonder, like, how do you
And our
make
team.
money, right?
And our team.
You
Yeah.
sell services like when Linux open sourced,
Enterprise
Right.
will always need something more.
and they'll pay.
Yeah, they'll pay.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of like, they say like tax the rich.
Mhm.
It's kind of
It
like
is.
that. But the thing is, what we like to say is like we teach everyone to fish. And then the people who want to get the extra, we give them the opportunity to extend our platform,
Uh-huh.
be part of our community. And then the people who just have a working business, make money, and want to just cut through the noise and go straight to the goal, they can pay for engineering talent. They can pay for. We have not talked today about the security of Smith OS. It's amazing. Like we call this constrained alignment, full end-to-end encryption, full zero trust, full sandboxed environments. You can mathematically guarantee your agents are not going to go off and start a matrix.
Interesting.
Conversation for another topic next
100%.
time.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, let's have. I want the last word. I don't want to say the last word. We'll have Dennis, and then we'll have Alex give us the last word.
In the world of search engines, it was information retrieval. It was the librarian that knew everything. Social media came along, and it was funneled context through relationships that you trust. That's what an algorithm is. It's basically filtering for you. It's taste making. And now we've moved to the third phase, which I call the goal engine. We went from search engine to social engine to the goal engine. The goal engine is about getting stuff done. People are prognosticating vaguely about like AI this and AI that, and we cut right through the nonsense like we did in Ty Lopez's thing earlier
Right.
today.
Yeah.
On, okay, that's great, all this and that, but what's your goal? If you have a goal, everything else can map back into whatever knowledge is necessary and whatever people are necessary to accomplish the goal. So if you want to lose weight, well, there's certain knowledge you have to have, and certain people will help you along the way. And there's things that you do, things other people do, and someone has to go to the grocery store and get your protein, and then you have to have knowledge about when do you have the protein.
Mhm.
So there's this complex, it's like this patchwork quilt of black and white threads that together look gray from a distance, but you zoom in and you
Right.
see information and people collaborating in these chains to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
Now, if we can say, if we start, because it used to be information, used to be, people, and the search engine and social media engine are inverses of each other in terms of like what the knowledge graph is versus how people are there. And then there's the information to the people, it's reverse. But now if we can just say, here's my goal.
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about these other components.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm most excited about. That's why I want to be around people like this to know what I don't know.
Yeah. We talk about soulcraft. Anything that you do that you don't want to do, but you have to do because you need to make a paycheck, it's not soulcraft. You're doing it. It's like economic subsistence slavery. You have no
Mm.
choice.
Mm. Yeah.
You guys, me,
Yeah.
like we are so lucky to do stuff that we enjoy doing.
Very
That
true.
is soulcraft.
Very
And
true.
and that's why we can put 80 hour weeks in. That's why we find the energy to do that. But there's plenty of stuff in my life, folding laundry. There's plenty of stuff that is not soulcraft, I promise you.
Right.
And then there's many people that I meet that make very little income and work so hard, and they do jobs they absolutely don't love, but they have no choice, right? And I want to see a world where everyone can be like a shareholder of this new economy. And it starts with open source. It starts with education, with helping people. And even this resource here, you put that very eloquently around the search engines and social media. And we are entering a really exciting phase of humanity.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you, everybody. And let's catch you on the next Digimarcon podcast. I hope to see you in person somewhere across the world in Digimarcon. Don't be a stranger. Let Alexander de Ritter know all about what you think, questions you have for him. What do you think about Smith OS? And we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.